Afternoon. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Biloxi City Council on July 23rd, 2024. Being that there is a change to the agenda, do we have a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lawrence, seconded by Mr. Tisdale. All in favor? Unanimous vote. Ms. Carey, will you read those changes?
To the consent agenda, we're substituting item 5D, resolution only, resolution accepting the bid of Nikkei Brothers Construction for Pops Ferry Extension, adding 5N, resolution rescinding resolution number 46424, accepting a rate quote from Cadence Bank for a lease purchase agreement, adding 5O, resolution accepting rate quote from Cadence Bank for a lease purchase for 19 vehicles. And to the routine agenda, we're substituting the resolution only to add a special assessment in the amount of $1,115.
I move the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion to move as amended by Lawrence and seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Any more discussion? All in favor? Unanimous vote. This brings us to the presentation agenda, Mayor's report.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Welcome everyone to our meeting, and especially new councilman sworn in today, Rodney McGilvery. Thank you for being here. We got a full complement, so that pretty much concludes my report. So welcome. Thank you.
All right. Any departmental reports? If
We have a
not,
departmental
Are
report.
you
we do. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Hola.
Mike wanted me to give an update on our complex, the parks, and where we're going. Everything with the upcoming leagues are based on the complex. So right now, at the A.J. Holloway Complex, the sod is currently being installed on the soccer and football fields, and it should be completed August 2nd, and then after that, it has to set for like 4 to 6 weeks. And but that's going to allow soccer to be played out there. November. The chain link fence is being installed and should be completed August 2nd. The storm drainage piping being installed at the soccer parking lot and should be completed by the end of the week. Outfield drainage to be replaced on Field 1 at the softball fields. Estimated start is next week and completion by August 9th. They're still installing some concrete at the baseball fields, at the relocated double gates at each field. That's work is going to take place over the next couple of weeks. And then all the parking lots should be completed by the end of August. And with that being said, and with all the work still being out there, we've decided that fall baseball and softball, we've asked them to go to other cities and play in those cities for fall and baseball. We feel like at this point they're still entwined with the baseball and softball season. We're into the football and soccer season, and we want them to come out and be a part of that. Football is going to have to be played outside of the complex this year, which we're going to play the games in all at Pops Ferry. We're going to practice at Miguez and Severo, Hilla Park. These are the things that we're going. Once we have started work out at Pops Ferry, some top dressing, so we couldn't open Pops Ferry fields like we wanted to. And we want to make note that people understand that Pops Ferry are athletic fields. That's not a park. That is athletic fields. So at this point, we're preparing it for fields for football. Once we get football started out there, then we could probably open it to the public. Ronnie, anything else? Nope. Soccer will start in November out at the complex, so they'll get to play out there this year. They'll be the first sport that'll be out there. As far as tournaments, the major tournaments, and we have some coming, we're not going to start taking any applications or anything until September because they have to start doing their spring schedules, spring and summer schedules. So, but there's a lot that's going to be coming our way.
I have a couple of questions,
Okay.
Director. Okay. First of all, there may be some new policies because of the turf and because what could damage it and everything. Do we have a clear plan to make sure we communicate that to the public or to teams that will be using the park? Is there a clear plan, like no sunflower seeds or?
Oh, yes, the signs are already up. That Ronnie Seymour back there.
No, I understand. But signs and then maybe some public information are two different
An
things.
application, and it's also, we're going to renew the concession stand. We're going to revise the concession stand to also include that.
Okay, and then just one final thing, it's looking beautiful. I mean, you can see it coming together in the upgrades, but all the scoreboards, they're a little faded. Is there anything in capital, or are they working properly, or are they non-functioning? Or are they functioning properly if you had to put the scores up on the scoreboards when these teams are playing?
Some work, some do not work. That's really almost a controversial type thing. A lot of the leagues do not
Let me jump in on
use it.
that, too. You know, there's some sponsor boards that we may pursue. I think, Ronnie, 8? Do we need 8 at this point, or 12? 8. So Coca-Cola or some of those people is what we'd, around 8,000 a copy, don't you think?
Yep.
Okay.
They're meeting with Coca-Cola Wednesday, so we're going to try to get them.
That's within the scope of the bond, though, so.
Yep.
you know.
Okay.
We've already got a plan, and we have the pricing and things like that, so, but yes.
We have this beautiful renovated park, and, you know, that's sort of goes along with the character, you know, when we do
And we
finally
did
open
do a
it.
lot of painting and a lot of sprucing up of, you know, it wasn't construction, it wasn't the 5 million was all construction. It was all part of wrapping the whole package.
All the pavilions, areas, and all are being painted, so.
And then, and the last thing, just real briefly, can you give a final update on what we did with the lighting out at the tennis courts?
Yes.
Okay.
From what I understand, and I've tried to call Taylor Tree Service, we're waiting for them to go in the back, clear some brushes so that Weaver can get his truck back there, and then they're going to start. So we're hoping by the end of this week that that's going to be done, so.
All the equipment's there, the poles are there, just ready to install.
Yes,
I
sir,
think the
just-
total scope is like 192,000.
Thank you, Director.
Okay.
I had a question on the drainage. Could you repeat what you said about the drainage?
The outfield, okay, the storm drainage piping being installed at the soccer parking lot, okay, that's going to be completed this week. It's that area in the corner, it would always flood. And then on the outfield drainage to be replaced on Field 1 at the softball fields.
All right.
These are areas where it floods real bad.
Did we add any parking at all?
Yes.
Yes,
How many?
60 Parker Place, wasn't Ronnie? 60?
67? All right, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, thank you, Sherry.
thanks.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Sherry.
Move on to council reports. Mr. Lawrence?
Yeah, we'd like to welcome Rodney McGilvery as our 7th member. We got a full load now. And David Shoemaker's all excited because he's a senior member with somebody. So he stepped up in line. Huh, David? So, welcome, Rodney. It's good to have 7 of us up here again. I don't know if y'all saw the food truck race they had down here. And I watched that on national TV this weekend. And they apologized to Biloxi for charging too much money. Yeah, one crab patty was $25. So they made all the food trucks line up, and they had to say, "We're sorry, Biloxi, Mississippi, for overcharging you." And I was on national TV, and the coverage they had was really great, showing them up and down Highway 90, showing Biloxi was good. Why they come with $25 for a food truck? That was pretty high. So, but anyway, he made them apologize. I don't know, did any of y'all see that on national TV? It was pretty interesting. And on the Food Channel. Yeah, I know you probably sleeping at home, you know. On at the foot of Oak Street by the water, where the old casino site used to be, I had people call, want to know how we don't clean that. Who actually owns that property now?
What site we talking about?
Foot of Oak Street on the south side.
On the south side by the water, right? Where the casino used to sit.
Right, the city owns the pier, where the pier used to be, but the property itself is owned by Harrah's. And then to the west of that is the Aldrich property.
All right, so I mean, we'd have to get in touch with Harrah's, whoever it is, to clean it.
Yeah, we'll contact them.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Guines?
All right. I want to first congratulate Councilman McGivery. Welcome aboard. It's good to have 7 again. Second of all, I want to thank Ms. Sherry Bell for Henry Beck Park. All the repairs from the Knights of Peter Claver, they've done a phenomenal job, and it's also saved the city quite a bit of money to have the workforce development kids out there working, training, learning how to build stuff. So I want to thank her for getting Michael Griffin and the workforce development from Peter Claver. The third thing I have is Ward 2 meeting, which is going to be Tuesday on the 30th, I believe it is, 29th or 30th. And that'll be next Tuesday. We're going to have a meeting in Ward 2, discuss some of the things that are out there. And of course, last but not least, school is coming back in, so we want to be cautious, keep our eyes open for our kids. I know we have one school crossing on Division Street, and I would like, I know Billy Ray is not here, or whoever's in charge of that area. We have some flashing lights that could use fixing, and that'd be nice if we can get that rolling again. But just get that message across to them. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Mr. McGilvery.
Chair Bill did an outstanding job in this last presentation. Mayor, could I get the same type report from her regarding the playground behind the library and the dog park and our timeline? Thank you. I see Chief Miller stepped out. I wanted to thank him. There he is. Chief Miller, your traffic units have done a fantastic job on Pops Ferry, Old Bay, Atkinson, and up and down Pass Road. If you could just ask them to put that on their sheet and keep it coming, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
That's it? All right. Mr. Tisdale.
Yes, I want to echo Councilman Guines that local schools are starting this week, or the first part of next week, so just be careful, particularly going by established bus stops or traveling through neighborhoods. At times we have a problem with speeders through neighborhoods. Speaking of speeding, I want to thank Chief Miller and his staff for enforcing speed limits in West Biloxi. It was, I guess, some sort of jubilee a couple of weeks ago. They were stopping them left and right on Old Bay Road and Pass Road. It was wonderful. Keep up the good work, or whoever's doing that good work, tell them to keep working hard. I appreciate that, and I know the residents do. We don't have a council meeting next Tuesday. Did we want to have a budget workshop next Tuesday? We do, Mayor? Okay, and I'm thinking we might set that at 1:30 if that's good. All right, so we've got a budget workshop next Tuesday, the 30th, here at 1:30. Lastly, I welcome Councilman McGilvery and look forward to working with him in Ward 4. That concludes my report, Madam President. Thank you.
Mr. Glavin.
Thank you. Also, kudos. Sorry I missed your inauguration today, but I heard it went wonderful, had cake and everything. So welcome to the team here in Biloxi. Got a couple of things. The first is the dredging project. I know it was targeted sometime at the end of July for the money to be dispersed. Do we have an update on the dredging, the $400,000 that was allocated for Brazier Bayou? Do we have an update on when and if that money is going to be dispersed? So the date for it to be released is September? One question I have, if we know we're going to be awarded that, I mean, it's been approved and it's just a technicality to be awarded, is there anything that precludes us to going to bid knowing that we're going to get?
You get that document in your hand, you can bid it.
Right, we have to have the grant agreement signed, or else it's not reimbursable. So if we were to go to bid right now, you wouldn't get the money back.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you for that. Also, put in a work request for the culvert, the cement culverts along Tribe Drive. There are some that are clean and you can see the cement. There's others that actually the silt has silted in on top of the cement, and now there's grass, almost, I hope it's not marsh or something we can't remove, but I hope it isn't submerged aquatic vegetation. But there are some that are pretty thick, that the sediment is kind of settled at the bottom of the culvert, and now there's thick grass that are growing in sections of that. I'm requesting that somebody take a look at it. Maybe we can scrape that out or ask the county if they can assist if we don't have the equipment to do it. That would be appreciated. And on the lines of Mr. Guyn's report on school is coming up, and we're going to have a lot of bus activity and everything. I would just hope that, and Chief Miller, they usually are, but I've had a couple of the parents call and ask that we just kind of emphasize that the school buses will be running soon, and that we enforce any violators that try to pass the bus because they're supposed to stop regardless if they're behind them or on the side of them, that we just put an emphasis on that in some of our meetings. And with that, that concludes my report.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yeah, just a few things. First, congratulations to Councilman McGilvery. And like George said, I'm not the newest guy anymore. So I like that better. I'm actually senior to somebody now after a few months. That's a role reversal too from the police department days. The roundabout on Shriners, construction is going good, knock on wood. Traffic is terrible. Obviously, it's going to be not much of a traffic plan there, I guess, and not many places to send it. But construction's coming along. Hopefully that'll, weather won't hold that up anymore. I know we've had a lot of complaints on traffic, but again, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Grass, I bring up grass every week. I've gotten a lot of phone calls the end of last week and yesterday and today. The city's out there cutting grass in Wool Market. Things are great. I hadn't had a whole lot of negative calls, a lot of positive calls last couple of days, so that's a good thing. Sidewalk, we're having, we got to, finally, we getting sidewalks in Wool Market. Everything's been approved. Hopefully construction's going to start soon. From Jim Bird Road at Wool Market all the way down to Lorraine Road, north on Lorraine Road to Nature's Trail. We're going to have, with engineering, with some representatives of Landmark who's actually doing the construction on the sidewalk, we've got a meeting next Thursday. It's the 1st, August 1st. I believe that's next Thursday for at 6 o'clock at the
City Center. Yeah.
Yes, sir. At the City Center, which is right next to the library on Cayley Cove in Ward 7. And basically that meeting's going to be to answer any questions, explain how the construction's going to go. Obviously, Wool Market Road's a main road, and I imagine traffic is going to be somewhat of an issue. But hopefully, people will show up. We can explain how it's going to go, how everything's going to move, hopefully smooth. But to answer any questions for anybody that they have. It probably won't last long, but we should have representatives there to answer any questions. And that's again next Thursday, the 1st of August at 6 o'clock. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to public agenda, citizen comments, where we have a total time allotted of 45 minutes. Each person gets 3 minutes each to speak. Once you reach the table here, please sign your name and your address and state it out loud for the record. Anyone on my left, your right that would like to get up and speak? Hi, babe.
That counts for 3 minutes.
Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure. See. Grins and giggles. Entertainment.
Hi, is this on? We never know anymore. My name's Bob. I've been here multiple times.
Get on the mic.
Mike, closer to the mic.
Is it working?
That's it.
Put it in a nutshell, I've done everything I can. I want to show you what I've done to try and help the neighborhood. We're talking about the Greater Biloxi subdivision behind Treasure Bay. I believe there's about 70 homes, 60 homes. The mayor's been very helpful, the police chief, a lady named Katie with the city code enforcement's been helpful. I've tried reaching out. I have some pictures here. It was very risky for some neighborhood. We're talking about Roy Anderson and I believe Cotton Four's property there. There's texts here from Mr. Anderson's office trying to help. There is stuff going on in that woods that is dangerous. I'm talking about to the homeless people. It's bad. And I can't have people in my neighborhood going in there. As I told Dixie, tomorrow I'm going to unfortunately have to have my wife go back to South Carolina because it's getting a little risky. I need some help. There's stuff going on in that woods that's coming in, bringing in people to our neighborhood that is dangerous. I have a lady across the street who has a handicapped son, and one of the homeless people stole her air conditioner the other day, and it's hooked up to a generator in their house in the woods. There's homes with roofs and windows, okay? And I don't want to be rude, but my wife wants another bathroom on her house. And I've been told that you can't go on the property because it's private property. So then you're telling me that if I want to add another bathroom on my property, I don't have to have, I can just put the plumbing right in the ground? What the rules are, I need help, whether it's a committee. I know I want to help the homeless people, I really do. But what's happening, in my opinion, is the Back Bay Mission has rules. The people who don't follow the rules are coming to our neighborhood. I see them getting dropped off. Borderline human trafficking. There's definitely weapons being sold. There's things going, kids are going in that woods. Can we just, somebody brought an RV there. The police chief immediately was on it. Anderson's people comment. He paid to have it towed. Please, can we get together? Can we do something? They are charging some of the homeless people money to stay homeless in that woods to be safe. These are violent people going in. And there's people been there for years. They got fenced yards. I'm not against homeless. I'm against bums. And we have a lot of them in our neighborhood that are going in and out. And I want to do something about it. Anything you could do to help, I'll be sitting right back there. Thank you.
Anyone else on my left, your right, that would like to get up and speak? Yep, anything you want to speak on.
Microphone.
Sit down.
Okay, sorry, y'all.
State your name. Yeah.
Mark Garriga. I'm right here on 169 The Muse, about 100 yards from here. I've got the rejuvenation station. I'm here to talk about the ban. I think y'all are proposing, or is that? And I can speak on that. Is that?
On the what?
Clock is ticking. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay. We just celebrated 10 years. First, let me tell you, I did 8 years in the United States of America's Army. I believe everybody should have their choice. Everybody have their freedom. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I understand how difficult it is, but at the same time, I think there's a time and place for everything. I think the medicinal marijuana, I'm all for it. If it can help folks get off pharmaceuticals and whatnot, I think it's a great thing. But I don't think this is the place for it. Not just the time, it's not the place right here. There's all kinds of places where we're not trying to build up walking traffic. We celebrated 10 years in May. I've seen this area has grown leaps and bounds. We got in when the baseball stadium was taking off. A lot of businesses did. We thought this area was going to take off. We thought this was going to be the next Ocean Springs. I've seen so many businesses close over and over, and new business open, new businesses close. But now we got a good little thing going on. A lot of businesses have been here for a while. They're building up. They got all these nice little small businesses, boutiques and whatnot. They started this this Saturday sale. They have things for the families, bouncy houses, the little chalk drawings. They're getting families come out. They got the Christmas in the city, all this good stuff. People are starting to feel safer. The people that this gentleman was just talking about God bless. I know what I don't know what to do, how to help them. I know they need help. But those people that he's talking about, they're coming through this area in the daytime. And luckily, there's nothing really for them to hang out and stay. They just pass on to go solicit and hassle and beg folks other places. But this place right here, if it opens up right here, it's going to be a little place where they know people are going in there with cash to buy. They're going to try to bum off it because they all smoke it. Hey, and now they're not getting it medicinal, but they all smoke it. Now, again, I don't have any problem with the medicinal stuff, but everybody's there. Hey, it's might be 2 years, 3 years before they may pass recreational. And when they do, it's going to be an entirely different kind. Now, I tell people all the time when they're looking for my place, I'm using landmarks. City Hall, I'm sure they do the exact same thing. So when people are calling City Hall trying to find out where something is, and City Hall's just going to say, yeah, we're right by the weed dispensary, or the next time the Croatian president comes here, a weed dispensary 100 feet in front of City Hall. Next time the President of the United States has been here, because several of them have been here, a weed dispensary right in front of City Hall. We're better than this. No other downtown on the coast allows it. There's places for it.
Thank you. Anyone else on my left? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Bonner. I own Blue Lotus Creations Herbal Emporium here in Biloxi, and I'm also a cannabis advocate. I'm the founder of the Mississippi Cannabis Festival, which we are so gracious that the city of Biloxi allows us to host here annually. And it's about education. I heard the gentleman, and I understand his passion that by having dispensaries in the city of Biloxi, that people that undesirables would come into the city. And I have to say that is, if you look at the statistics, that if there's an ability to sell alcohol, there are 88,000 alcohol-related deaths every year. We have liquor stores in our downtown. A cannabis dispensary, it's a legal entity where people are qualified before they can come into that dispensary to make a purchase. There are security requirements that the state of Mississippi have put in place before individuals will come into that dispensary. I have not seen a homeless person hanging around a medical marijuana dispensary because 1, they do understand that a card is required, and 2, they don't have the monies that are required to purchase medical marijuana in the state of Mississippi. If you look at your concern about property values, homeless, I think that those are unsubstantiated by facts. Also, in regards to families, I read the WLOX write-up, and it talked about the downtown area being a family establishment. And I love that idea. I passed by Altered Reality as well as Fly Llama, and I see the kids there with their parents, and they're consuming alcohol. But because of the way our laws are written, people aren't outside smoking marijuana, not legally. And I think it's a matter of education versus perception of what's going to happen if the city should allow medical marijuana dispensaries to be housed in the city of Biloxi. It's revenue for our state, it's revenue for our city, and it's controlled by the laws of the state of Mississippi. So I think it's a matter of education, not a matter of banning because of fears that are fueled by incorrect information. And also, I know we all are here in the Bible Belt where we all are Christians in some right. You have to think about marijuana as a plant, just as it's listed in Genesis 1:29. I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be your food. Plants. Marijuana, cannabis is the official name, Cannabis sativa L. It is a plant that humans can use to support our God-designed bodies, our endocannabinoid systems. So the fear that's being put in place is unwarranted, in my opinion, and I hope that you will research before making a decision not to allow these businesses in the city of Biloxi.
Anyone else on our left, your right, that would like to get up and speak? Anyone on my right, your left? Anyone in the room? Okay, if not, citizen comments are now closed. Ms. Carey, will you please read ordinance A?
Ordinance to amend the Biloxi Land Development Ordinance pertaining to recreational vehicle parks.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Glavin,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Being a first reading, we'll move on to ordinance B.
Ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinance pertaining to special events.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Glavin,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Being a first reading as well, we'll move on to ordinance C.
Ordinance to amend the Land Development Ordinance, removing the ability to apply for a conditional use within the downtown zoning for certain cannabis uses.
Previously moved by Mr. Tisdale and seconded by Mr. Guines. Any discussion, Mr. Tisdale?
Yes, and I moved it so that we could have some discussion on this, just to see how the others felt on that, on this particular topic. First of all, this does not prohibit cannabis dispensaries from operating in the city of Biloxi. It would prohibit them from operating as a conditional use in the downtown area of Biloxi. And I know we've added little sections from time to time to what constitutes the downtown zone. Jerry, if you don't mind coming up and just kind of give us the boundaries of the downtown zone so folks get an idea of what area of the city we're speaking of.
Although we have some properties along Highway 90 that are zoned waterfront and are zoned maybe CB, which is our entertainment district. For the most part, the downtown zoning runs from just west of Legends, to Porter, and then goes north up to Howard Avenue, and then comes back over and then goes north again there along Bone Street. And there are some properties, you'll recall, that we changed on the north side of the railroad track to downtown about a year ago. So that's basically the boundaries of the downtown district.
Now, thank you, Mr. Creel, appreciate that. They are, cannabis dispensaries are permitted within neighborhood business zones, community business zones, regional business zones, and industrial zones. And waterfront zone is a conditional use. So really, you look eager to comment. Mr. Creel, go ahead.
And let me explain the reasons that those zonings were chosen. Anytime that the state passes a law that allows a new use of property, what we have to do is to take that use and compare it with our land development table to see what use it most closely falls in line with. And in this particular case, what we did is just look at pharmacies. This is a medical marijuana distribution facility. The closest use we have to it that exists in the land development ordinance is pharmacy. So we took the zonings that allow a pharmacy and wrote the text, to allow the dispensaries and the research facilities and the testing facilities in those zones. Now, in thinking about whether they needed to be allowed as a permitted use or a conditional use, we felt like that in downtown and in waterfront, we certainly needed to have an extra level of control over that, just to make sure that in those zones that there are some places where it might be appropriate, but there are some places where it might not be appropriate. So we made downtown and waterfront conditional use so that the Planning Commission and the council could make that decision about whether or not they thought that it was a good location for it or not. We've had 2 applications that have come before us for downtown zoning. One was in the old Philip with Billups building, and that one was denied. And then we had another one that came before us for a vacant piece of property on Water Street, just east of Mary Mahoney's there, where they were going to actually build a dispensary. Since that time, the owners that had gotten approval on that application for the Water Street property have changed their mind and are wanting to locate in the building on Jackson Square, which is right behind there where Mr. Garriga's business used to be, the massage place. In order for them to do that, and that case will be coming to the council in a couple of weeks, but Planning Commission had approved their application last week, 8-6. That application will be coming forward, but because some of the same people are involved in that application that were involved in the approval for the one on Water Street, we're going to have to get a written statement from them that they would withdraw the application or the approval for the one on Water Street in order to have it, because they have to be at least 1,500 feet apart. So the one on Jackson Street can't be considered. The reason we're considering that application is because they got it in before the law changed, and we have to honor that application. It doesn't mean we have to approve it. It just means that we have to accept it and run it through the process. So the conditional use, what we're proposing is that the conditional use be removed in downtown. All the rest would remain the same, unless the council decides to take another look at another zone district. But that's all that's before you today. If this is approved, it'll remove medical cannabis dispensary, cannabis research facility, and cannabis testing facility from downtown zoning, period, so it would not be allowed at all.
Okay, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Creel. I really have
Ask you a
nothing
question, Joe.
to add
How's
to
it
that.
been?
Wait just a moment, Mr. Lawrence. I have nothing to add to what Mr. Creel said, and I thank you for clarifying that. I'm not in favor of cannabis-related businesses in the downtown area, and the reason for that is we're trying to build that up as an entertainment district, I think, more than anything else. And I believe it was, if I caught the gentleman's name correctly in the back who spoke earlier, was it Garriga?
Mark Garriga.
Okay. It made a lot of sense to me. So that's where I am on this issue. Thank you.
Mr. Guines, you seconded it?
Yes. Now, you mentioned the 8-6 on a planning commission. That wasn't this particular case, was it?
No.
What was the vote on this particular item?
It was 12-1 to approve removing it from downtown zoning.
Remove it. And why do you think you had that one dissent?
He didn't give a reason. Occasionally we run into that where we have someone there that just believes in property rights and might not believe that we should take that right away from somebody. But there was no statement made as to why they voted against it.
And there was nothing, nothing given. In other words, nothing was given.
No, sir.
Okay. That concludes my question.
All right, anyone else? Mr. Lawrence?
My question was, how long has it been on the Water Street property?
I'm sorry?
How long has it been when we passed that? It's an empty lot, and we knew they weren't going to build anything. How long has it been? Has that been 2 years?
No, sir, it hadn't been 2 years yet. It's been a little over a year, though.
Yeah, because in 2 years, they hadn't done anything. They ain't even starting to build. They're going to lose the rights anyway.
Well, they can always come and ask for an extension, but what we need is something in writing. They did present a summary of what they were asking for. They presented a summary saying that they were not going to go through with the one on Water Street, but the document was not signed. It was just a summary. So what we need is a written document that's signed that says that they're going to void the conditional use approval on Water Street if they get approval on this one.
Yeah, I'm just double checking on that because a lot of people don't follow up on it. Then they don't realize they lose the rights.
Okay.
And since I had the mic, I agree with Mr. Tisdale. We're working hard to build downtown Biloxi into a family-oriented, tourists bringing their kids, all these good things. So I don't believe we need these things here. We have other zones to put them in. Not like we're eliminating them. We're just not going to allow them downtown Biloxi, and especially a conditional use to me. So I can't support that either.
Anyone else? If not, call for the question. All in favor? Unanimous votes. Moves on to Ordinance D.
Ordinance to amend the Point Cadet Marina and the Biloxi Small Craft Harbor berthing rate schedule.
Previously moved by Mr. Glavin and seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Any discussion, Mr. Glavin?
This has to do, I think I made a statement when we first brought it up for the first reading. This has to do with the renewal of docks, I guess their leases,
The discount.
the discount. So if they pay the full amount for a year, they get a 10% discount. Previously, there was kind of an unwritten rule that they could pay 90 days or some time level that was a little lower than this, but we felt it's in the best interest in the city to make sure we get that commitment, and they will get the discount that they got in the past. It's just not as a short discount period as it has been in the past. So this is fair. It's better than what's existing, and for those who want to pay their lease a year in advance, they get the benefit of the discount.
Not a thing to add to that, thank you.
Say, Kenny, you moved it to 12 months, right?
Yes, sir.
They have to pay for a full 12 months to get the discount.
That's
Upfront.
correct. And accounting, again, from our accounting department, it just muddies the water when they got all these different dates to keep up with. And then, did they get the discount? Do they owe it back? All that kind of stuff. Now, I will say this, if they pay it in full, and I've talked to Mike about this, if they pay their lease in full and for some reason they can only fulfill 6 months of that lease, it'll be prorated, down to what they paid. They would have to pay the full 6 months, right? Or we would credit them back, but they would have to pay the full 6 month or whatever period without a discount if there was extenuating circumstances.
Refund of a terminated lease. That's what we're talking about, somebody leaving early, they want their money back.
If they left early, then they would have to pay they might be reimbursed, but they wouldn't be reimbursed net of the discount. I think you and I had that discussion. If there was extenuating circumstances, their boat burned up or, something happened.
You wouldn't be allowed the discount at the discounted rate. If you had 6 months credit, you get 6 months credit.
That's correct. Okay. So I just thought I'd throw that little caveat in there,
A maximum refund.
One other question, Kenny, do we have a date, like everybody's gonna pay like in September, October? Do we have a date?
So whenever renewal, whenever you,
Yeah, whenever they initiate their lease.
Rolling renewal date.
Yeah, so if somebody comes and says, I want that slip October 1st, I'm going to pay 12 months, all those dates would be different. It wouldn't be a set January 1st or June 1st or something like that.
I can understand, but I mean, it'd make more sense for the city if, say, it was all October the 1st, and you paid a year for October 1st on.
everybody's lease doesn't come in mid-year, they come in at
Yeah.
various times.
I mean, you can put them together and straighten them out, that way you'd have all your money at one time.
Yep. Well,
Okay, just double checking that.
Kind of make everything.
Nothing.
We'll figure it out.
Not a thing?
Didn't happen.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Ordinance to amend the Sherman v. Canaan Back Bay Fishing Dock and the Biloxi Commercial Fishing Dock berthing rate schedule.
Same deal.
Same one.
Same thing. Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Resolution of notice of intent to amend the Code of Ordinances pertaining to garbage collection and disposal fees.
I'll make that motion for discussion purposes.
I'll second it.
Okay, so this, basically, all this is a notice of intent. We're announcing to the world that we're fixing to do something, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Councilman. Understand the process. We have the notice of intent, then we have to run it in the newspaper for a couple of sessions, 3 weeks. Then we have to, after it's been published, then we have to run an ordinance before the council for a first reading and then a second reading. Add all that up and you've got about a month and a half if there's no delays.
So we have to start pretty early to meet the numbers. Because if that ordinance passes unless it's anonymous, then we can't put it into effect for another 30 days.
Unanimous.
Okay, and if,
Anonymous,
anonymous.
Anonymous too.
Can't be
okay.
anonymous. We don't do that around here.
Anonymous or unanimous?
So understand that there's a long process we got to go through. That's why we're starting so early.
Okay. A couple of things, if I calculate correctly, months from now, literally, a number of weeks or months from now, when this comes up for council action, if the figures remain the same as what's indicated here, that'd be an increase of 84 cents a month, I think, basically. And in the past, in August of 2021, the rate was increased from $15.10 to $15.75 a month. And then in August of '22, it was increased from $15.75 to $17 a month. And then in July of '23, last year, it went from $17 a month to $23.75 a month. And just to be clear for folks out there, it's not like we sit around and dream up these figures or anything. We're dealing with the Harrison County Utility Authority, and they bargain on behalf of all the cities in Harrison County except the city of Gulfport, who decided to go their own way. I think it's a little pricier way than what we have, but that was their choice. And the thinking is that the Harrison County Utility Authority can get a better price based on the number of households that they serve than each individual city could get if they bid them on their own. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make that point. That's all. Thank you. I'm done.
All right.
You say they're going up $6.75 a month? From 17 to 23.75?
No.
They went up that much?
That was last year, and that's because the utility authority, that was the first year of a brand-new contract, if I recall correctly, and these are multi-year contracts. So last year was the first year of a multi-year, I don't know how many years it is, but also built into that contract is there going to be annual increases based on the consumer price index or some other similar figure. So, you know, this is part of what we've contractually agreed to do. An accurate statement. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Lawrence, I'm sorry.
Increase this year.
It's 84
cents.
84 cents.
84 cents a month.
So we have this contract that's set for 4, 5, 6 years.
Each year.
But they change it every year.
Based on CPI, and if the utility authority accepts CPI, that was approved already. For the second year of the 10-year deal with them.
I mean, their service hadn't got any better. But every time you turn around, another $2, $3, stuff like that. You started at 15, now you're gonna have 25. That's $10 increase
Gulfport's
per
35.
citizen. I mean, that's tough. And you have no say-so,
Yeah, but it's still the best deal around.
you know? So I guess originally we had a bad contract. It's like these change orders. If the change order do the same thing, they bid low and then just pop it to you. We got 3 change orders today on this one thing, in these cases,
Well,
you know? 28,
the
29,
county
and
plus 4
30.
municipalities voted on that at the proper time. And the CPI, the second year, the CPI turned out to be 84 cents for solid waste. And the issues that they have regarding the solid waste disposal and the trucking of that waste up there. So that's the justification. But you could have, 10 step-ups if the contract, ends in 10 years.
Remember, this is for trash.
Solid
for
waste,
recycling.
solid waste.
It's for debris removal. It's not just for the trash can.
Yeah, like we started at $15. I know this for. Yeah, so they ain't changed anything. Taking that to Congress, if they don't pick up the trash.
Let me tell you, some of the justification
anything
was the transportation, that you looked at the I guess the fuel costs and so forth. That was all part of the arithmetic when they asked and was passed by the utility authority.
The fuel cost right now is lower than it was 3 years ago. So that's not the answer.
What option do you
I
have?
mean, I don't know what you can do about it because you can't get rid of them. That's the problem. But it's just not fair to the citizens.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous votes. Brings us to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
By Tisdale and seconded by Mr. Guines. Any discussion items, Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, I had more too. The one I was just talking about, we're getting ready to do a Nikkei's Brothers again, and yet he's got 3 change orders here. Is he doing the job we're supposed to be doing? We can't keep hiring him, and he just sits there and changes orders to debt for thousands of dollars at a time. And
Well,
3 of them a day.
Walt's not here, but basically it's a giant spreadsheet. You get paid for how many you install. If in the spreadsheet it shows that you have 1,000 more feet of tons and everything, that's the arithmetic of how they ask for change orders. You know, again, in the North contract, there were 1,000 valves left out of the thing. We paid them for the valves that they were installed, and that was, the result of a change order. That's what's happening here. It's not anything that they're not doing. If they install more of what they're scope to do, that's what they get paid for, and that's the change orders. I got to place so many more tons instead of, less than that, and that's what the change orders are. Or, I'm not sure exactly what this is, it could be the number of days that they, rain days, or extension of the number of days that they're doing. But they are doing a pretty good job.
Now, I just worry about the prices. When they start doing the prices for it, that's when we get in trouble, to me.
Well, again, that price is what we pay. We get reimbursed by MEMA through FEMA, and that's all part of the deal. They get paid on what they install.
'Cause, I mean, you got them here about then you had the thing with Nikkei's for the road.
Right.
Is that on here? Isn't that today 20 million?
Consent on 5D, 5 Delta.
So that 20 million is for what? Everything?
Construction, no, not for everything. You've got construction management, RPR. Christie, you here? Okay, plus some contingency. So the total scope of what, the engineered estimate is about 22,800,000. 22.8, Christie? Yeah. The 20 million 8 or 890, whatever it is, I can't remember.
28, that's a good number.
Yeah, 20.8 is pure Nikkei's construction over the 2-year scope of work, time of work.
So they'll run a road from where to the Highway 90?
A little bit north of on Pops Ferry, north of Parish Road, all the way to Highway 90. About a mile, Christie?
And there's no offshore to railroad track, it's just be flat.
It's going to be at grade, right?
With the bid, I mean, we have that much money, 20 million? Or we got to get permission from MDOT to do it?
We had permission, everything's ready to be scheduled.
The commission, the MDOT Transportation Commission voted on this morning and approved it in Jackson.
So they approved us to be able to do it. And the 20 million should cover everything.
Right.
I mean, that's the money we created over the different
Let me
towns.
say this about that. 20 million, lawyer, you know what I'm going to say? Sure. Okay.
Go ahead and say something.
I'm going to say it. The $20,890,000 includes about $3.8 million that the Coliseum has requested for improvements, an underpass, as well as an extra entrance to the Coliseum. We expect the Board of Supervisors, along with the commissioners, to come up with that 3.8. We're ready to move forward because of the way we have to have that total funding to go forward. But we have the option to descope that if should they choose not to build, direct us to build that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but didn't we put up 7 million from the bond money?
We got 7 million, part of the scope. Of that 14 million that we did in 22, 7 million was that, and we had a number from the legislature as far as to make up that total scope of work. We were told by the Harrison County's Board of Supervisors for those improvements that was requested prior to the bid, was 2 million that they would become, the actual bid for those items, the underpass as well as the additional entrance curb to the, curb cuts and cross, and I guess light, if there would be one, to the entrance to the Coliseum. The 2 million is what they estimated, what they guaranteed, but the actual bid price, which we directed them to do, what were the costs of those improvements, item by item by item, that total 3.82 million. So, the 20 million point 8
So
could be less than that from our end.
yeah, we put up 7 and 3.8 from the Callaway, the other 10 million come from.
Just different sources, not the Board of Supervisors, but the state.
These are the different things that you.
Yeah, different
for
sources.
the last few
That's
years.
right, yeah.
And if we do that, it would be considered evacuation route where we could.
No, the hopeful, I think the designated was 615. Was it the state road that was designated this?
615, right.
615, that would, if it starts and is improved, I guess, meets the MDOT standards, then we could apply to have it a state road, but we would probably have to have some upgrade to different sections to have it a state approved, a state bond, a state board road, what do you call it, state designated road, state aid road, that's
And
right.
a state road, what that leads to, the real prize is a state bridge, which we're not eligible for today. But if that becomes Highway 615, that's a state road. Now we can talk about state bridge money.
That's the long game. We gotta build this, it needs to touch Highway 90 first. That's what it's gonna do.
MDOT, do they actually own it? Just like Highway 90, we actually own Highway 90, they have the right to maintain it.
We actually own the bridge, and we own that highway. And so we don't really want to own that bridge.
Yeah, no, it was a gift.
It was a gift, all
It was a
right.
gift, all right. It was a gift, all right. All right, that's it right now. Let me see if I got anything else. Oh, yeah, somebody else can do it a little bit.
Councilman Ward 7, ask me about K.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Gaines.
I have none. I'm good. I'm nothing.
Mr. McGilvery, you got any items you'd like to discuss off of the consent agenda? Okay, Mr. Tisdale?
One thing for the engineer. Ms. Labata. It's quick, it's not even multiple choice. So this is for the Pops Ferry extension.
Yes.
The only figure I could find was referred to as working days for this contract.
Yes.
And that was 344 working days?
Yes.
So that's what they, that's what I saw.
Yeah. It's in accordance with the MDOT specifications. So the MDOT Red Book defines how many working days are in every month. So it doesn't necessarily mean they might not be working. Like in January and February, there's maybe just a handful of working days. Doesn't mean the contractor might not work. He just might not be charged a day if he's working on those days that MDOT doesn't.
So,
It's
sure,
very
365 days minus
Minus-
52 weekends, 104 gives you whatever, 252 working days or 250 working days. So if you have 344, we'll say, call it 18 months, 17 months or something,
Working months.
right?
Yeah, working
Right over
days.
2 calendar
Right.
Working, okay, that's all,
Working
that's
days.
all I
It's a
had.
different type of contract than you normally see than a calendar day contract.
Right.
But there are also
Thank you,
liquidated
Christie.
damages in this thing too.
Correct.
What are the,
3,000, I think it was.
I don't remember off the top of my head. That sounds about right.
okay, it was in there, I missed it, it was a lengthy contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're big.
I just didn't understand the working days, that explains it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Glavin?
I have nothing.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes, K. Mr. Leonard, can you explain that, please?
Completion of the extension of Lorraine water line up the Lorraine Road is allowing us to hook up more than 100 new residents in Ward 7 on water that have not ever had before. That includes the Pine Haven Park and Bellwood neighborhoods, all over 100 residents hooking into that water line.
All right.
That's good news. Always like the good news. I have one other thing. Just a question on the stadium. And I read what it said, we're given, I guess, $25,000 more for repairs. Any idea what those repairs are, or is this just
Yeah, they're
something?
mostly air conditioning, emergency air conditioning repairs.
All righty, that's all I have, thank you.
Good job, Ms. Christie.
One
Good
thing I-
job.
All right, Mr. Lawrence?
On the add-on, we rescinded the bank, what was the main reason we rescinded one with the cadence and then put another one? What was the main thing?
In a nutshell, it was about $400 off what their paperwork was, and just the headache of trying to explain to them the difference in that $400. It was easier just to tell them, we're going to undo it all and do it for another number. It's a $400 difference.
So to put the second one to straighten it all out?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And all in favor of the consent agenda? Unanimous votes. Any exceptions?
None.
None. None.
All right.
None.
Moving on to code enforcement.
Item A on the agenda, Myrna Joy Gore, 0 Snug Harbor Road. That case has been resolved. Item B, Kevin Kirby, 1772 Curry Street. This property is still in violation.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of Kevin Kirby at 1772 Curry Street? If not, this case is closed.
Item C, Ashley and John Richardson, 735 Highland Drive. That case has been resolved.
Okay, could I ask Jerry a question? Not on that case. On the gentleman that was complaining about all the trash and that, is that all WC4's property? Who owns all that property? With the house and the trash and everything on it that the man showed us all the pictures on?
It's owned by Cotton Four and Roy Anderson. Those
All
are,
right, so have we cited them?
we have, yes, sir.
And they hadn't cleaned it up, or we have to clean it up ourselves?
We're limited on what we can do. Most of the problems are in the middle of the property, and in the past, Cotton Four had given us a no trespass letter on that property, which gave the police department the authority to go in and remove people, check things and all, but he refuses to give us one now, so all we can cite is what we can see from the road.
I mean, he can't break the law either. So we need to do something about it. Have you sent inspectors out like where they can, how far can they go on the property? Or they can't go on the property at all?
Anything that is visible from the road can be written up, but anything that's not visible from the road is when we run into trouble.
So all these different things the pictures they showed looked like they was by the road? So we can cite him on all that, and either clean up ourselves or have him cleaned up?
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right, so have we put that in motion yet?
Yes, sir, we have. We've got something in motion. It's kind of in the system right now. I'll give you an update on it, the status of it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Two things along those lines. Possible to use a drone to scope things out?
Actually, that has been challenged before because there's an expectation of privacy. If you fly a drone over someone's yard and they're swimming in the backyard with, in the natural form, that would be considered an invasion of privacy. So we're limited on what we can do with a drone.
What about the health department?
Well, I mean, unsafe, unsanitary conditions, if there are people that are living in there, they have a lot more authority than we have to go in and address those kind of things.
I'm just thinking about the sanitation, the health, if there's no plumbing, all that stuff, then that's a, and I think maybe we've had that issue before, somewhere along the line, so there's some precedent there somewhere where we might pursue that. It's just, it's challenging, I think, and we've got to be persistent, but I'm thinking there's got to be a way to address this to help the residents in that neighborhood.
Yes, sir, I agree.
So they don't want to clean the property up for them?
I'm sorry?
They don't want to clean the property up for them?
Roy has been good whenever we would write them up, that they would go in and they would cut a certain section, like off of Pass Road. They would cut in so far, but a lot of the problems are in the middle of that property. And
Let me add, Jerry, on this. It was similar to what we had early on in 15 to 16 when gotten hit some property up with some structures in the Edgewater Estates area, and we actually took them to court, didn't we? About getting those structures removed. It was in the middle of the property, but people were tracking back and forth. The same situation, I think. We'll engage in conversation to state that this is a similar situation, that the structure is causing some nuisance and some danger, and I think we can hopefully that we'll be I guess treated, with respect in order to solve this problem, because it is a problem. It's similar to what we had early, with that piece of property up there.
Yeah, we could start on a civil, it's a civil nuisance is what it is. And I think if we started on that and even sat down with them and said, here's a complaint we're getting ready to file, then I think we could get some action out of them.
I want to follow up on this drone nonsense. So if you send a drone up and there is no one naked in the backyard, but you see all this riffraff and everything, how can somebody dispute that was a violation of my rights, number one? And there's drones used all along this coast to highlight the landscape of the coastal, ambiance of our community and all that stuff. And it just, that don't hold a lot of water with me. I'd say challenge me.
But it does work that way, though. If they have a fence, if they have a solid fence around their property, and we go through that fence without getting permission from the owner, then there's cases that we've been provided with where people have been sued for that very reason.
That's true, but there's two things that this person is a trespasser. He's not an owner. And it'd be, now Cotton 4 would have to complain that we invaded somebody's privacy, and I don't see that happening. But we could also look you could get on the roof of Treasure Bay and look down and see some of the same stuff.
Well, you can send a drone up right here and it can look over in that direction as well without hovering over the actual property itself.
Right.
I just think that as we got reasonable cause and evidence that there's activity, obviously people are getting over a fence to get in and around that area and abuse it. And, I just think it's,
and I will tell you,
I know it isn't funny from a legal standpoint, but if it was me, I'd say,
and we've,
yeah, go ahead and challenge me.
we've gone up to old trailers that were falling apart, old mobile homes, and the door's open. Nobody living there. It's just an obvious junk mobile home. And we've gone inside, and we've had to face attorneys over that because we didn't have permission to go inside to look at it, even though the door was wide open. So
I think the response from Roy in Cotton, once he sees his pictures taken by neighbors and taken by concerned folks, then he'll be reasonable in the situation, and we'll see if we can put that in motion.
Okay.
Well, you definitely need to do it. I mean, you can't let somebody in the city break the law because they say, we got no trespassing sign. And everybody, we write them up, the grass is not cut. So I don't know what we gotta do. I mean, but you need to, we'll check on it every week, have a report every week, what we doing to make sure it's done and clean. You gotta start somewhere, so we start today. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the routine agenda, do we have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Gaines,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Shoemaker. Any discussion, Mr. Lawrence?
Is Walt here?
No, I'll give the report.
Did we get any checks in there?
No. We got about $1 million or so in the process. I'm not sure what step they are. 421, I think we received last week, but we're well ahead of the schedule as far as 60 days up.
But it's already set up, it's just waiting to get.
Yeah, again, the way the process works, we paid the bill, they get the clear check, we submit it, but they've agreed to keep us 60 days ahead of the cash flow.
And that's it, 421,000?
That's what we had last week. That's what we got last week.
All right.
But I think we got 1.7 on the docket today. So next
That'll be the
month.
next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All in favor of the routine agenda? Unanimous vote. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Tisdale, second by Mr. McGilvery. All in favor? Meeting is adjourned. We got a 5-minute break before our special meeting.